Today's Cleveland Browns report is sponsored by Mint Mobile. You may have already seen some of their ads with actor Ryan Reynolds. Well, he's got a great deal for all of you guys watching right now. With cell phone plans starting as low as $15 a month, when you go to mintmobile.com/chatsports, it's a very difficult deal to beat. That link's in the comments and the description of today's show. Plus, we'll tell you more about their great benefits and why you should switch over later on. But our first question comes in from Dr. Richard Kimball, Jason Kimball, asking, do you think the NFL appeals? That's kind of the big question right now. And the NFL has 3 days to decide whether or not they would like to appeal. I do not believe they will. I don't see the logic in agreeing under this new CBA to add arbitration and bring in an arbitrator like Judge Robinson only to appeal it to Goodell and not progress any forward. Plus, you got to remember way back when this new CBA was installed, this new policy for personal conduct policy violations, yeah, that's something the owners pushed. You know who pays the salary for Roger Goodell? The NFL owners. Connect the dots. William Schur has our next question. Over or under 35 touchdowns for Watson in the regular season? I'm going to go under. We actually can throw Deshaun Watson's 2020 stats when he last played for the Texans on screen, and you can see he had 33 touchdowns back in 2020. Now, he led the NFL in passing with 4,800 yards, but 33 touchdowns, he played the full season. If Deshaun Watson's going to be playing, 11 games, I'll say he throws 24-ish touchdowns, right? A little over 2 touchdowns a game maybe. 1 touchdown game, 3 touchdown game there. I'd pencil it closer to 22, 23 than 35. But we'll let you guys predict it. How many touchdowns for Deshaun Watson this season? Let me know what you're thinking. Shout out to producer Chugs for getting this whipped up for you guys, ASAP Rocky. But I'm curious what your predictions are. Let me know down in the comment section. Longtime viewer here at the channel, Joshua Miller, saying 5-3 into the bye. Okay, I mean, let's throw the 10-game schedule up here, and let's look at what the Browns and the handoff will be like from Brissett after 6 weeks, where I think the Browns should be able to go 4-2, minimum 3-3. And then Watson comes back week 7 and week 8, Ravens-Bengals. I'll say he splits those games. I don't like doing this prediction stuff all this way out because it's the first day of August as we are recording this live during our show following the Deshaun Watson news Monday morning. But a lot can change in 7 to 8 weeks. So if anyone tells you definitively like they're going to win this game in November, they're full of it. But yeah, week 9 bye, I could see 5-3 very much being in the cards, especially if you're 3-3 or if you're 4-2 and you split the next 2 games with Deshaun Watson. Yeah, I feel like that's not something that's you're overreaching for. Now, we've got more questions to get to in just a moment, but make sure you subscribe for the #1 Browns YouTube channel out there, in my humble opinion, and my mom's, for the best news and rumors coverage, because no one's going to be keeping you guys informed for the latest Browns news and rumors like we are here at the channel. So go to youtube.com/Browns Report, or if you're already on YouTube, just click that sub button. Josh Miller with the next question on the screen here. Add Jimmy Garoppolo only if he's released. Can get him on the cheap. The NFL appeals it to itself for a full-year suspension. Thoughts? I don't think the NFL is going to appeal this decision. Maybe by the time you're watching this, that's already been decided because as of right now, Monday morning, they only have 3 days to make a decision. I don't believe they'll entertain appealing this decision. Now, as for the idea of just adding Jimmy Garoppolo, on a side note here, the Niners, I'm curious to see what they'll do because if Trey Lance is the guy, right, if he looks the part, then what do they care what happens with Jimmy Garoppolo? They got their guy, Trey Lance, right? They've got their future Hall of Fame quarterback or whatever. So if they do end up releasing him, maybe it's a little bit more appealing because you won't have to give up anything for him. But at that point, if they're releasing him, they're probably not going to do it until very late in training camp because they don't want the Seahawks, who they play in week 2, to pick him up and start against them week 1. That's something that's like deep Niners rumors. So I don't think Garoppolo ends up in Cleveland anyway. We got a non-Watson question. Oh boy. Freddie Broker, whatever it is, breaking the cycle here. If Greg Newsome is playing in the slot, I love it, this year, Who would we want on the boundary? I want to see A.J. Green get some snaps. I think he can be really good. I liked A.J. Green a lot last year in preseason when he got some snaps. Now, yeah, it's going to be Newsome in the slot most likely. So then you got Ward on one end. You got an interesting battle between Greedy Williams and the rookie, Martin Emerson. Williams is most likely going to win that job. I'd put like a 95% chance. But A.J. Green is going to be a very good depth corner where if he's your CB4, you're looking at a guy who is probably going to make him a name for himself in Cleveland and be able to cash in somewhere else where it's like, hey, the Browns are like, we love you, but we've already are pretty tied up with Ward, Newsome, and Emerson. We're not going to give you the bag. But you're right. I think A.J. Green is one of those real Browns, not saying fake Browns fans, but like if you watch Browns training camp preseason football, you're like, that A.J. Green guy, he can play. Now, I told you at the top of the show, today's sponsor, Mint Mobile, has great benefits, and I want to share those benefits with you now. Not only do you get unlimited talk and text, but you get high-speed data on the nation's largest 5G network, or 4G, depending on what is best for you wherever you are. Plus, if you're trying to work abroad right now, you don't want to work from home, you're trying to watch the Browns report on the road, they've got mobile hotspots for you with plans starting as low as $15 a month. You can't beat it. So get started right now. See what the actor who owns this company, Ryan Reynolds, is all about. When you go to mintmobile.com/chatsports, that link is for everyone is in the comments and the description of today's show. Get your 15-day plan coverage starting right now at mintmobile.com/chatsports. Next question comes in from Zach Schaefer. Watson will have to deal with the Ravens stacked secondary. Yeah, Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphrey, Kyle Fuller, that's kind of the new trio right now in Baltimore, and they get a healthy trio back. So it's not ideal to have your first game be against Baltimore. I'm going to go out and say it because if the Browns lose with Watson, it's just more like bulletin board material. If you've got a Ravens fan in your friend group or your family or whatever, that's just going to like hang over you until the Browns play the Ravens later on at First Energy. I'd rather play the Dolphins or the Jets Week 7 if Watson's returning from a 6-game suspension, but I'll take a 6-game suspension nevertheless. Now, speaking of the Ravens, speaking of the Crows, what team do you hate the most? Personally, I understand the Art Modell reasoning for the Baltimore Ravens, but Pittsburgh Steelers makes a lot of sense to me too. So I'm going to go with F. Pitt down in the comment section, but I'm curious what team you hate the most. Let me know down below. Mark with a very, very good question that is being overlooked because of all the news today. Should the Browns pick up a wide receiver? Well, let's quickly run through the guys who've been hurt after 1 week of training camp. Javon Wims is dealing with an illness right now. Not very specific, but that's just a training camp arm, not an arm, but like, someone to throw to. You need that kind of stuff to keep drills and, the level of excellence moving along. So you got Javon Wims, Anthony Schwartz, he's dealing with a knee injury. David Bell is dealing with a foot injury. You saw, unfortunately, one of my favorite UDFA signings out there, Isaiah Weston. He's dealing with an ACL injury. That's 4 guys. Like, you need bodies in there to catch the football from 4 quarterbacks. So I think the Browns will probably make a signing soon, not because of they want to improve the receiver room, but at some point you're like, we got to have guys run these drills. Whether or not we actually view them as real roster potential, we just need people out here to keep the line moving. So we're going to see more for Demetric Felton probably work with the wide receivers, which is good for him because he needs that opportunity to crack this 53-man roster. But yeah, I'm very much open to signing a wide receiver. My question is it like a Will Fuller, a T.Y. Hilton, Cole Beasley signing? Okay, here we go. Ohio Biker, sign Fuller, right? Is the signing going to be a higher statute, or is it going to be one of those like, who? Oh, he played 3 games for the Raiders last year, and no one's really ever heard of him. One of those kind of like cheap, we don't want to put a big, news wave through, through the ocean here of Browns media. We'd rather just go with a lower key name. Question coming in from my friend Ryan, who's always tuning into our live shows, by the way, which are Thursdays at 4 Eastern. Will Watson be a Hall of Famer? It's tough. It's tough to predict that. Now, I will add this. I saw this the other day. Only like 4 quarterbacks have been added to the Hall of Fame the last handful of years. So my thing is this. The precedent for quarterbacks being added to the Hall of Fame was pretty low when you saw the numbers they put up in the 70s and 80s. Nowadays, Kirk Cousins, if you did his stats against some guys in the Hall of Fame, he has Hall of Fame numbers. So how will the Hall of Fame kind of twist from, yeah, it used to be easier for a quarterback to get in if you had X amount of passing yards and touchdowns. Now you need a little bit more than that. It's impossible to say for a guy who is entering, year 5 in the NFL? Years 5, 6, drafted back in 2017. So we'll find out. My guess is he's got to win playoff games. I won't go all the way so you have to win a Super Bowl to make the Hall of Fame. That definitely cements it, I would say, if he wins a Super Bowl. If you're the Cleveland Browns quarterback to win a Super Bowl, you're getting into the Hall of Fame when it also is in Canton, Ohio. All right, Scott Wood with our next question. What is the worst record the Browns can have with Jacoby and still make the playoffs? Well, we can throw the 6 games up on screen here. Shout out to Jeremy. Let's say this is worst case scenario. Baker beats the Browns week 1. Revenge game, and he capitalized on it. Week 2, they bounce back, they win at home. They lose to the Steelers, and they're 1-2. They beat the Falcons, they're 2-2. And they lose to the Chargers, they're 2-3. And Belichick comes back to beat the Browns, they're 2-4. I think that's probably too tall of a mountain to climb. 2-4 seems very tough to come back from, especially when you look around the AFC. You know that the wild card spots, there's not going to be a team like the Eagles last year or the Bears the year before with 8, 9 wins that makes the AFC playoffs this year. There's going to be a 10-win team that misses out on tiebreakers. If you're 2-4, I think that's just too tall of an order to ask for Deshaun Watson to lead a comeback from and only lose 1-2 games the rest of the season. But let me know what your record prediction is now for the Browns. Now that we know what it's going to be for the first 6 weeks of the season, does that change it for you? Or are you sticking the same and you think, hey, Jacoby Brissett's going to go 4-2? I thought Watson actually would end up going 4-2. They may not be prettier wins with Jacoby Brissett, but the result will still be the same, a W. Let me know what you're thinking down below. Last question coming in from Adam Wallace. Will Cam Newton get signed for the first 6 games? Oh, boy. This is going to get a lot of people clicking on some titles here. I do not think so. You entertained adding a 4th quarterback with Josh Rosen versus A.J. McCarron, right? You picked Rosen. If you were interested in Cam Newton, that probably would have been the time to bring him in. So I don't think Cam Newton coming in at this point is all that likely. I won't say it's a 0% chance because you're dealing with your backup quarterback here. So if Jacoby Brissett starts to stumble throughout the preseason and training camp, maybe Stefanski and Barry will go, yeah, let's add some more competition to this room. Before we sign off out of here, make sure to follow me on Twitter at Matthew Petey to get more Browns coverage. I really appreciate all the support and love you guys could show me over on Twitter.com. So check me out at Matthew Petey for more Browns news and rumors coverage.